Hello friends, welcome back to the Husky Squad Doggo Life channel. I'm Victoria, Kimahri is hanging out with me for this video, and today we're going to be talking about the 3 top assumptions people have, including what I had, about feeding dogs a raw food diet. If you like dog lifestyle videos, be sure to click the like button right now, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a single video we post here. On this channel, we do unboxing videos, product review videos, and doggo lifestyle hacks to make your dog parenthood more amazing every day. Before we begin this video, I have to say that I'm a little bit biased towards raw food because raw food saved our beautiful Kimahri from cancer 3 years ago. She was diagnosed with cancer in 2018 and she's been cancer-free since switching to raw. In just 28 days, her cancer disappeared and she's thriving and living an amazing, healthy life. So naturally, I'll be a little bit biased, but it's not just because of her story, but it's because of the amazing amount of research that I've done on this subject, and also because of our incredible holistic veterinarians we're in touch with around the world, including our incredible veterinarian that helped us cure Kimahri from cancer, a holistic veterinarian who understands the importance of nutrition and natural medicine, and he is our superhero. I'd like for you to stick around to this entire video because we'll be sharing not only the 3 top assumptions that most people have about feeding raw, but one of the assumptions that is very real and what you can do to not be part of the statistic. So, like you, many dog parents who are watching this video, I was once the dog parent that was so afraid to switch to a raw food diet, and I had many assumptions about the subject, and by now I've heard it all. I really wanted to switch to raw food. It wasn't like it's something that was just in my mind and that's it. No, I wanted to switch really badly, but the assumptions held me back. Then I waited too long and I got a big wake-up call once our Kimahri was diagnosed with cancer. And that's when we knew that we couldn't wait any longer and we were forced to make the switch, and we're so glad that we did that. Not only did raw food help heal Kimahri from cancer, but it also helped Titus so much with the skin issues he had. He had so many rashes all over his body. The medication, antibiotics made everything worse, and it was just awful until we switched to raw food. And the same goes for Yuna. Yuna had ZRD. Many of you who have the Husky breed or the Snow Dog breed are aware of ZRD and zinc deficiency, and she suffered so much. She had eye rashes, she had rashes on her toes, she would scratch it and make herself bleed, and all of that went away on raw food. They had digestion issues, chronic diarrhea, you name it. All of that went away on a raw food diet. So naturally, I'm a huge advocate for raw food, and now that we've learned so much on the subject, I love sharing these things with you. Remember guys, prevention is the best medicine. Why would you wait until something goes wrong like we did and then try to reverse everything? Why not do things right and correct like nature intended in the first place and prevent all these issues to begin with? So let's go ahead and smash the top 3 assumptions that I had and many of you have about feeding raw food, so you can decide for yourself what you want to do moving forward with your beloved fur kid. Number 1, the biggest assumption that's out there that I also had is that when you feed your dogs a raw food diet, that they will get sick from salmonella and other bacteria. Where does this come from? As I was digging deeper into the subject, I came to understand that this lie is spewed by kibble companies who are profiteering from keeping dog parents in fear so their dogs stay on kibble so they can keep making money. It's so unfair and actually pisses me off. Excuse my rant over here, but this is something that really bothered me once I started researching. Actually, one of the biggest prescription companies, prescription kibble companies out there, spews that fear on their website still today because they want to keep your dog on kibble. Kibble is processed, full of additives, full of food your dog doesn't need. I mean, you name it, that's a whole other subject we could talk about. But that is where that assumption comes from. It's not your fault. It wasn't my fault that I had the assumption because it didn't come from our minds. It came from marketing, from companies that want to keep you in fear and your beloved dogs on kibble. Dogs and other carnivores in nature, wild carnivores, have a highly acidic stomach that can break down bacteria and all kinds of other harmful substances that they would eat out in the wild way more than ours. This is one of the safety measures that keeps their balance and their system in check, and it's actually amazing how that all works as nature intended. When your dog eats a raw food diet, it provides all their needs to have a healthy gut. When your dog has a healthy gut, their immune system is solid and it fends off so many health issues, not just any little stomach upset that would happen, but way more beyond that. Nature has been doing this for so many years, way before that junk that we call food that's in a bag, processed garbage in a bag. Dogs and all beings, no matter who they are, human, animal, when we eat a healthy, species appropriate diet, we all thrive. Kimahri over here, at this time of the video, she's over 10 years old. This girl has energy out of control. She's a cancer survivor. She's doing wonderful, and we attribute that to her healthy raw food diet instead of this junk that comes in a bag and you don't even know what's in there. A little note of caution. As dog parents today, and with all the tools and knowledge that we have, we can absolutely and should freeze all meats and fish below 0 degrees at least for 7 days, so you can kill all possible iffy things in the meat, so you do not have to worry about feeding your dog healthy raw food. This is an extra precaution. We do it, you can do it too. It's not complicated. We all have a freezer today. All right, let's get to myth number 2. And that's a myth and an assumption that I also had, that a raw food diet, if I will make it myself, will be incomplete and it will not provide the nutritional needs for our dogs. I was wrong. A healthy raw food diet that's varied and properly understood is the most beneficial and healthiest way to feed a dog. I mean, do you see wildlife having some specially created scientific diet in a bag, eat that kind of food, and them thriving? It's actually the opposite. They eat a simple, nature-intended, nature-evolved diet, and this is how they thrive. I can't actually believe I had the assumption, but I understand why. Because when we look at kibble, at a kibble bag, it has a bunch of marketing. Natural, complete, puppyhood, adult, senior, you name it, it has so much marketing on there. It's unfortunate, but we fall to marketing. That's why it exists, right? So we have to understand that and break that down. It is absolutely not true. Because if wildlife or humans or anyone needed some magically created company kibble, we wouldn't all be here. We wouldn't have evolved all these years to be here. So it's so not true. We need to take that out of our mind, and we need to understand that we absolutely can have the confidence to feed our dog healthy raw food, just like we understand ourselves what healthy food is for ourselves. We know that a box of colorful cereal or eating cereal every day or energy bars, we know that it's not good for us. We know that fast food is not good for us. We know that packaged junk food is not good for us, right? How come we don't pass that information to our dogs? Because we have been intimidated to think, and we have been marketed to, that kibble is the only complete diet. But trust me, You can and you should have the confidence to learn and understand how simple and amazing it is and how rewarding it feels and how healthy your dog can be on a healthy, raw, natural food diet. Alright friends, on the subject of incomplete diets, there's something I have to mention because otherwise this would be a disservice and can do so much harm. Unfortunately, we discovered over time that there are many dog parents who think that just grabbing some hamburger beef, some ground meat or ground chicken and throw it in their dog's bowl, that's it. Your dog is going to be fine, it's healthy, it's complete. That is not true. Feeding a diet of just ground beef can actually do so much more harm than good. You have to be careful about this. Feeding a balanced and complete raw food diet is not complicated. You just have to spend a bit of time learning the subject and understanding it well. But if you don't do that and you just feed your dog ground beef, your dog will become deficient. Your dog will be lacking critical nutrients that a carnivore in the wild would naturally eat, that they would naturally eat if you would allow them to hunt. And if they don't get these nutrients, your dog will actually become deficient. Myth number 3 that I also had, and I know many of you probably think the same way, that a raw food diet is expensive, difficult, and time-consuming to create. I can understand that. I felt the same way, and it's overwhelming when you think about it. Because if you're conscious about what your dog should be eating and you understand that a hamburger patty is not gonna cut it, then you start building all these things in your head and you start thinking about how overwhelming it will be, how difficult and how pricey it will be. I can understand that, and I thought the same thing too. But thank goodness it's actually not as bad, or it's not bad at all. What you can do about feeding raw is that you can make it as time-consuming or as easy as you want. You can make it as affordable or as expensive as you want. There is such a large spectrum between all these subjects, and you don't have to go all or nothing, where you have to be on the very time-consuming side or you have to be on the very easy side. There's so many benefits to being anywhere in between, and we kind of float between all these different aspects. But I have to say one thing is that one of my biggest regrets is that I thought that feeding our dogs raw food is so expensive that I would actually be paying more for their food than paying for our home. I thought it was that bad, but actually it is not. As you start learning more on the subject, you start understanding how to put a meal together. You can make it more affordable, more efficient, easier, over time, and you'll evolve in that. And having that confidence to understand to put a meal together from scratch for your dog and having all these hacks and knowing what you're doing is such a great feeling. When you start feeding your dog raw, you're gonna feel like you understand your dog's needs, not just as a dog, but also as an individual. It's incredible. And all those things just fall by the wayside. And actually, at this point, we feed the Husky Squad an incredible healthy raw food diet way cheaper than what we paid when we fed them premium kibble. And that is just amazing. So as we go through this video discussing the subject with you, are you inspired to think differently? Are you inspired to start feeding your dog raw food? I urge you to really think about this and take the steps to feeding your dog a raw food diet. It's one of the most amazing feelings as a dog parent, and I can't describe how wonderful you're gonna feel when you put that first raw food meal in front of your dog. You're gonna feel wonderful. Before, when we wanted to start feeding a raw food diet, I started researching, reading, going online, reading different articles, trying to understand the subject of feeding raw, and I got incredibly overwhelmed. There's so much information out there, and yes, there's amazing good information out there, but you also find contradictory stuff. This type of diet barf diet, primal diet, Frankenstein diet. There's so many, Frankenprey, excuse me. There's so many diets out there when it comes to the raw food, the raw way of feeding, that it can be overwhelming, and it overwhelmed me too. And actually that put me off and didn't allow me to start the process of feeding raw, along with my assumption it was just, you know, a huge cluster thing in my brain and I couldn't process it. You can do that. I still urge you to learn and research everything on your own. I really, really recommend that. But what we were looking for years ago, before our Kimahri was diagnosed with cancer, I wanted to find a course, something that can just take all the noise away, something that can give me the basics, a meal plan, something that can help us transition all of our pups to raw food, and for me to feel confident as a dog parent that I'm doing the right thing. I couldn't find anything out there. Years later, as we kept going deeper into the subject, and as Kimahri recovered, and as we started working and getting to know amazing holistic veterinarians around the world, and spending so many months getting deeper and deeper in the subject, we put together this course for this exact reason, because we wanted dog parents to feel confident to start this process of feeding a raw food diet. It was such a lacking thing for us, and I didn't want anyone to feel that again. So we built a course called Kibble to Raw, where you can learn how to transition your dog to a raw food diet, away from kibble, away from processed food, and feed your dog how nature intended. It's made for all dogs, all breeds, all sizes, and all life stages, and it includes an amazing, gentle 15-week transitional meal plan, and we teach you everything on this subject to get started. This way, you can dive right into it, you can begin feeding your dog raw, and feeling confident that you're feeding your dog a healthy, complete diet, and then you can expand from there if you want to. But in this course, in Kibble to Raw, we give you all the tools that you need to start the process and build on that. So join us on Kibble to Raw. You can find the course on huskysquad.com. Join us there and dog parents around the world who want to feel independent and who want to feed their dog healthy food. Don't feel intimidated by what's out there. Don't feel overwhelmed. Start the process, and also, at this point, don't feed your dog kibble. So be sure to go check out our Kibble to Raw course and join us today. I'll leave it here in the description of this video, and this will be the most life-changing decision for you and for your dog. We can't wait to hear from you as you begin transitioning your dog following our Kibble to Raw course. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you there at the Kibble to Raw course. Bye!